If you grew up as a PC gamer in the 90s, you probably played point-and-click adventure games. LucasArts' Monkey Island series, or Sam & Max, or Sierra's King's Quest series are all classics of the genre. Or, if you're closer to my age, you probably got introduced to the genre through Telltale Games, as they modernized and streamlined the genre, allowing the games to be experienced on not just PCs, but be viable on home consoles, and popularizing the episodic format. I got introduced to Telltale through the Back to the Future games, a sequel story to my favorite movie series where Marty meets a young Doc Brown. But their big break came from the Walking Dead series, and from then on, I was hooked. The dialogue was so well written, the story hit you like a freight train, and the characters stuck with me so much, I swore since that day I wanted to name my future first daughter Clementine. So Telltale Games hold a pretty special place in my heart. So after Telltale went the way of the dodo in 2018, it was sad to think that this may be the end of point-and-click adventure games getting mainstream attention. Fast forward a few years to 2024, and it's the Game Awards. And actor Aaron Paul gets up on stage and shines a beacon of light through the darkness. What's this? A new studio by former Telltale developers? A new Telltale-style game? A cast of creative characters all wrapped up in this humorous superhero story? I'm intrigued. So, I immediately went on Steam, put it on my wishlist, tried the demo when it came out earlier this year, and finally, I've been playing through the entire game from when it released to when the final episode came out on the 12th. So now, without further ado, let's take a look at Dispatch. First off, I'm gonna do my best to avoid spoilers here. I have played the game twice and I've gotten two different endings, and while the general story remains the same, it's all the choices you make that affect the story and make it unique to you. All the footage here is from the first two episodes to avoid any visual spoilers, so if you don't want even the basic plot ruined for you, either jump ahead to this point in the video or just leave now. I don't mind, you can go. I'm just a picture on your screen. That long enough? All good? Good. The general plot here is that Robert Robertson, played by Aaron Paul, is a superhero named Mecha Man who, despite not having powers, fights off supervillains with a mechanical suit that his dad built. The main villain he's after is a guy named Shroud who killed Robert's father years ago, and now leads a gang called the Red Ring. No relation to the Red Ring of Death on Xbox 360, as this game isn't even on Xbox. After a fight, Shroud ends up destroying the Mecha Man suit, and we believe that the suit's main power supply, the Astral Pulse, was destroyed with it. After announcing his retirement from superhero work, Robert is approached by Blonde Blazer to recruit him for the Superhero Dispatch Network, or SDN for short, to have him work with the Z-Team in exchange for his suit being rebuilt alongside the new Astral Pulse. The Z-Team is a group of former villains that are brought together to be rehabilitated into heroes under the Phoenix program.
What, we some kind of suicide squad?
The Z-Team consists of Sonar, played by Charlie aka Moist Critical, Flambe, played by comedian Lance Canstopoulos, Invisigal, played by Laura Bailey, Punch-Up, played by Jacksepticeye, Prism, played by rapper Thought Squad, Malevola, played by Alana Pierce, Golem, played by rapper Young Gravy, and Coupe, or Coop, played by Mayana Burin. From there, the main story takes a bit of a backseat to a lot of character interactions, development, drama, and of course, your choices, all while the initially reluctant team begins to warm up and accept Robert as a colleague, a leader, and eventually as a friend. That is, until it turns out the Astral Pulse wasn't destroyed after all, and it's been passed around from one low-level criminal to another, and it's only a matter of time until Shroud and the Red Ring discover it. From there, despite no backup and direct orders from Blonde Blazer to not go after the Pulse, Invisigal goes after it. That is, until Shroud catches her and nearly kills her. Invisigal is put on suspension and leaves SDN, understanding that they're all pissed at her. From there, Robert goes out and is caught by Shroud, where he reveals that he didn't get his hands on the Astral Pulse and that Invisigal had stolen it, all before Blonde Blazer rescues us. That night, Shroud makes his big move against the city and against SDN to get his hands on the Astral Pulse, leaving the Z-Team, Robert with his recovered Astral Pulse and a rebuilt Mecha Man suit, and other heroes to fight Shroud once and for all. Where, well, that's just it. Your ending could be one of several depending on your choices. But regardless of your choices, the basic gist is that Shroud is defeated, the Z team wins, and you all live to fight another day. While the general story may be a bit standard, it's the characters and those moments of choice in the storytelling which makes the game stand out and elevates it above others. Especially the character relationships. And when I say relationships, I mean relationships. As this game's episodes were coming out, the main topic of discussion online was which character you're trying to romance. In which case, you have two options. You can either choose to pursue Blonde Blazer, the quintessential female hero. She's strong, sexy, confident, and is there to pull you out of your slump from the beginning. On the other hand, you have Invisigal, the cute, rebellious former supervillain. Both characters have their appeal, with neither one being perfect. They both have their faults, and it leads to some great discussion between episodes, which I think only pushed this game to be such a massive hit. The discussions I saw online about why people made their choice between Invisigal or Blonde Blazer were always just fun to witness. Personally, I chose Invisigal in my first playthrough because the enemies to lovers storyline and Invisigal's redemption arc not only seemed like a story that I would be more interested in, but also one that seemed to be more in line or more in the spirit of the game's narrative and the purposes of the Z Team and Phoenix program. But I think we all know that Malevola is the one that won all of our hearts. Come on, AdHoc. Let us rizz up the hot demon lady. You can't put her front and center on that promotional poster and not expect us to thirst over her. You knew what you were doing. Simply put, the personality of not just both these love interests, but the entire cast and their relationships with one another is where this game truly shines. A lot of that comes through in both the performances and the writing. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the performances is where I was worried about this game. Not by the likes of Aaron Paul, Jeffrey Wright, Laura Bailey, and the rest of the core cast, as they all have plenty of acting experience and I knew that they would deliver a stellar performance like they always do. But rather, I was more worried about the members of Z Team and their performances by internet personalities. In that reveal trailer, hearing Moist Critical ask Aaron Paul if he's gonna eat those Twinks, I was worried that this game might be using these personalities as a marketing gimmick to dupe their fan base into getting the game. But surprisingly, no. These internet personalities like Moist Critical, Jacksepticeye, and Alana Pierce, and the others do such an amazing job in these roles. It could be the voice direction that AdHoc had for them, or it could be that they allowed the cast to come in and make these characters their own. The result is, these performances feel like they are coming from genuine people who genuinely are giving fantastic performances. Alana Pierce has this amazing video that she posted on Instagram where she explains that they allowed her to give her character her last name and she named it after her stepdad.
My name's Victor, because I'm a fucking winner.
I'm Alice.
Bruno.
Malevola. My last name's Gibb. That was my stepdad's last name. And they were like, do you want to give her a last name? Because the line was just written as Malevola. And I was like, if I were to do that, I would do it for my stepdad, and they kept it in. I know I recorded that, but I had no idea if they would keep it. So I think that was recorded like just a little bit before he died. I guess I didn't know when I recorded it that he wouldn't still be here by the time the game came out, but... Oh, that's so sweet. But yeah, now that is, like, immortalized in a game that, that millions of people have played, and, it doesn't mean anything, obviously, but, like, I'm like, oh, well, now he's, like, related to this character I played, and that's just really sweet. Yeah. Oh, man.
That's not something you see too often in the gaming space, and I gotta give AdHoc some serious applause for not just allowing their performers to make the characters their own, but actively encourage it. And while we're applauding, just one for this whole cast. They all do such an amazing, fantastic job. And let's be honest, a lot of these performances shouldn't work, but they do. I mean, who would have thought that Irish the Hedgehog and Young Gravy would do as good of a job as they did here? And now, with my obligatory Sonic reference out of the way, it has to be said that the writing that they had for these characters is no slouch either. Most of these characters' personalities come through in the dialogue and their banter with one another. The Z team all constantly fuck with each other and give each other shit, but their relationship grows and they become this found family of sorts. Their dynamics with one another changes. Characters that were once at each other's throat end up relying and trusting on one another with their lives. They banter, they bicker, they joke, all things that when it all comes together create characters that feel like real people because they're all given a sense of depth and emotion, leaving almost no one here to be a caricature or a stereotype. And there are some lines here that will hit you right in the heart, and others that you will quote and laugh at constantly. The entire bar scene is just one laugh after another. This game is absolutely hilarious, and I actively caught myself laughing out loud at least once in almost every episode. My only issue with the writing is that at times they wanted to add some edginess, and they did that by just having this character swear excessively.
Shut the fuck up! Let me remind you, these calls are fucking recorded for training fucking purposes. So keep the fucking line clear before we send your stupid fucking asses back to whatever fucking cell we pulled your stupid fucking asses out of. Alright?
I'm not a prude or anything. I say things like fuck, shit, cunt, bitch all the time, but there are points here where it just seems like they're cursing because they can, or because they feel like it's something they're going to make the game a bit more edgy. And it can end up feeling more like a shitty Tumblr post rather than a professionally written story. But thankfully, those moments are few and far between, and every other moment of the writing feels top notch. They managed to get me not only to care about just the main character and those I'm trying to romance, but they also made me want to pair team members up just to hear what they would say to one another. It was these character interactions that drove me to want to come back and keep playing over and over again to see the story through to the very end. That, and the game has an amazing balance of genuine heartfelt moments and hilariously stupid lines that I can't help but crack up thinking about. And to get to the very end is where the game's main gameplay comes in. Now, gameplay has never really been Telltale's strong suit, or even the point and click genre as a whole. Most of the gameplay boils down to choices made rather than things like shooting or jumping like in most games. But Dispatch easily has the most gameplay out of all the Telltale style games that I've played. Outside of the standard dialogue choices that we come to expect from these kind of games, a good chunk to maybe about half the game is now a management simulator. A management simulator where you have to dispatch heroes from Z Team to different emergencies around Los Angeles. Each member of the team has their own stats, they have their own relationships with other team members, and some may have their own ways of boosting their fellow team members in certain skills. The skill tree breaks down into combat, vigor, mobility, charisma, and intellect. The more a hero is successful in the missions you send them on, the more skill points they get that you can pour into their different skills. My first time playing, I tried to keep everyone balanced to make it so that they could easily pair up with any other team member and take care of most threats. The way success and failure are determined is that the game will give you a brief explanation as to what traits the situation needs, and you need to send heroes to meet those traits. The closer you match those needs to your hero's skills, the better chance you have of success. However, success is almost never guaranteed because while you may have chosen decent heroes for the task, an animation of a bouncing ball around the necessary skills will bounce around to determine if your hero's skills overlap with the needs of the situation. If they do, congratulations! Your team was successful and they are returning unharmed, and after a brief rest they can be sent out again. If it doesn't, your heroes are injured and will return back to base where you may want to use one of your heal kits to heal them again before sending them back out. But later on, some emergencies that come up end up saying that if a hero's skill is too good in one aspect, it would be an immediate fail. There are also some points where a hero or heroes will run into an issue in the middle of a mission and ask you for your help. From there, you are given a few options that would end up utilizing one of the skills. essentially just boiling it down to if your chosen hero or heroes have enough of that one specific skill to determine if they succeed or fail. Oftentimes, these choices have one option that is locked to a specific character, and if you didn't choose that character to go on that mission, that option is no longer available to you. There are also these hacking minigames that come up from time to time where you have to guide your hack through either a puzzle and avoid viruses, or match a frequency to locate someone. There's a surprising amount of depth in the gameplay here that I was not expecting when coming into this game. And I'll be honest, when I first started playing, I was not into it. I found the mechanics of trying to determine who is best for what situation and what team members end up working best together in those situations to be a bit confusing and sometimes overwhelming. But eventually, over time and with some practice, I found the gameplay to actually be extremely rewarding. I often found myself taking risks by seeing how much I could get away with by how little heroes I could risk sending out to do a task, so that I could save the other heroes for other tasks. I can easily see the gameplay here being something that others find to be completely tedious and something that others do not vibe with at all, and at first, I was in that camp too. But over time, I grew to want to become better and better at this mechanic, so when I would mess up or miss an emergency, I contemplated on restarting the episode just to see if I could do a better job. That was half the reason why I went back into the second playthrough anyway. That, and to make different choices than I did the first time to see how the story changes. That is where the second half of gameplay comes in. How do you respond to characters? What do you choose to say? What do you choose not to say? And especially, who do you choose to be romantic with or not be romantic with changes the story in significant and meaningful ways. And the game highlights the choices that you and everyone else make at the end of each episode. With each episode only taking about 45 minutes to an hour for 8 episodes, it tells you how many people made the same or different choices than you. These all lead to a game that can be replayed, discussed, and argued about for a long time to come. There is so much more I want to discuss about Dispatch, but I don't want to put any of it into this video because I think that this is a game that if you are even remotely interested in, you should absolutely go and play it. I know I didn't really touch on the game's art style or the animation or the soundtrack, as I don't know much about art and animation, but I think it fits the story and tone of the game well. Still comic booky, but more in line with something like Invincible. And the needle drops for the licensed tracks have added some songs into my rotation that I listen to in the car, at the gym, but they also had their share of songs that I didn't really care for as much. Not that the songs I didn't like are bad, just not really my style. This game is one of the most compelling and heartfelt games of the year, and it's also one of the funniest. This is easily a contender for Game of the Year, and I can't wait to see what the future of this series holds. Speaking of the future, with this game's massive success, selling over 1 million copies in just 10 days, there is no doubt in my mind that this game will be receiving a sequel, as well as a bunch of supplemental material. I mean, the game's deluxe edition already has 4 digital comics, and I'm sure I'm not alone in wanting them to be printed out and sold physically so I can add them to my collection. Rumors of a TV series, though I would personally like to see it as a spin-off with their own characters and stories set in the universe, leaving these characters to be in the game, as I think the choices the players make is what makes this game so special. Even if you aren't a fan of Telltale Games and you just want to watch someone else play to experience the story, the game has more than earned its $30 asking price. AdHoc knocked it out of the park with their debut title, and I am eagerly awaiting to see what they have in store for us next. With all that being said, what did you guys all think of Dispatch? Who did you end up romancing? Did you even romance anyone? What sort of things would you like to see in the future of the series? Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, all the classic YouTube things that really help me and the channel out. That's it for today, guys. I'll see you all next time.